analysis, or we can say we are trying to find the time complexity. So if we have a program like this, suppose main for I is equals to 1, I less than is equals to n, I plus plus, x is equals to y plus z, z dot x, y plus z, and close the loop. So if we have this program, so what will be the time complexity? So main is started, and after that we have a loop for in which it will go up to n, and we have one statement in the for loop. So it will go up to n time because I started from 1, and it will go up to I less than equals to n, and here is only one statement. So what will be the time complexity? N. How many time it will run? It will run n time. How many time it will run? According to for loop, it will run n time. And here is another statement which is outside the loop. It is in the main program, but it is outside the for loop, this statement. So how many time it will run? It will run one time only. So what will be the time complexity? We can say n plus 1 or order of n. So the time complexity of this program will be order of n. Now move to the next. If we have a main program which we have x is equals to y plus z for I is equals to 1, I less than is equals to n, I plus plus, and x is equals to y plus z. The loop closed here. Another for loop started in which we have I is equals to 1, I less than equals to n, I plus plus, and then again another for loop started in which we have j is equals to 1, j less than is equals to n, and j plus plus. Then inside this we have one statement, x is equals to y plus z. So this for loop end, this for loop end, and the main function end. Main function started, one statement is there, for loop started, and for loop closed. Then another for loop started, another for loop started, one statement, one for loop closed, another for loop closed, and main function closed. So what will be the time complexity of this program? Here the one statement, so it is outside the loop, so how many time it will run? It will run only one time. Only one statement which is outside the loop, so it will run only one time. And in this for loop we have one statement, but how many time it will run? It will run n time because we have for loop which start from the 1 and it will go on up to equals to n. So it will run n time. Now come to the next for loop in which we have two for loop and we have one statement. So this statement, as we know that initial first we work on the inner loop, then we'll work on the outer loop. In the programming, in that way we only work. So first that statement will run according to that loop. So in this also it starts from the 1 and it will go up to n. So it will run n time according to this loop, and for this loop also in the similar way it will also run n time because this statement comes under two loops. So this is also n. So total how much time it will run? It will take n square because according to these two loops it will run n square time because n time for this loop and n time for this loop. That's why it will run n square time. So we have three statements in this program. One is outside the loop, so it will run only one time. One is inside this for loop, so it will run n time. And one is inside these two loops, that's why it will run n square time. So what will the time complexity for this program? 1 plus n square according to these three statements. What will the complexity? 1 n and n square. So total will be 1 plus n square. So what will the time complexity? Time complexity will be order of n square. Time complexity will be order of n square. So we can say that time complexity is equals to the largest loop in the program. Time complexity is equals to the largest loop in the program. So as we discussed earlier also, that small loops, that means good program. Big loop, then program we can say okay, but it will take more time. But if we can write the same program in which we have largest loop in the smallest loop, then it will be the best program or good program. Now move to the next. Suppose if we have main in which we have for loop I is equals to 1, I less than is equals to n, and I is equals to 2 into I, and in which we have only one statement, x is equals to y plus z, for loop closed, main program closed. This is the program only. So this is example 1, this is example 2, and this is example 3. Suppose we have this program, then what will be the time complexity? I less than equals to n. So here we have two things. I is equals to 2 is to I. So if we start like this, initially I value is 1, so we can write like this: 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32 to 64, 128 to 256, and after that 512, 2 into I na. So we can start like this: 1 to 2 to 4 to 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and 512. So for less than equals to I, when I is less than n, there are two conditions: I is less than n and I is equals to n. So I is less than n, so we can count 64 is equals to 6. We can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because it starts from 1, so we cannot count this. But up to 6, then we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will run 6 times. It will run 6 times. So, or in the similar way, for 16 it will run 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I value is 1, so when one time it will run, its value will become 2. When second time it will run, then 2 into 2, then its value become 4. Then third time it will run, 4 into 2, its value become 8. When fourth time it will run, 8 into 2, its value become 16. So 16 value we will get when it will run 4 times. So we can say clearly that log base to 64 is equals to 6, or log base to 16 is equals to 4. As we know, if we write like this, suppose log 2 base 2 to the power 4, then its value will be 4. So we can simply say that n is equals to log n base 2. 64 value it will run 6 times, for 16 value it will run 4 times. So it simply say that log base 2 64 will be equals to 6 and log 16 base 2 will be equals to 4. So we can simply say n is equals to log n base 2. This will be the time complexity. This will be the time complexity. Or if we take, this is for I less than equals to, this is for I less than n. But if we talk about I equals to n, if we talk about I equals to n, for I equals to n, then 64 will be equals to 7. It will run 7 times. And one condition is added here for checking of equals to. That's why 64 6, as we see here, 64 we will get when it will run 6 times, but we are adding one more condition for I equals to n, so one extra will be added. That's why it will become 7. It will become 7. So we can say in the similar way, 16 it will run 5 times, because 4 times it will check the value for I less than n, and one more time it will check the value of I is equals to n. So it will run 5 times. So we can simply say that the order of log n base 2 plus 1, this will also be equals to order of log n base 2. So the complexity of that program, in which we have loop for I is equals to 1, I less than is equals to n, I is equals to 2 into I, with one statement, the complexity will be same. Either we go for I less than n, or either we go I is equals to n. So the time complexity of this program will be order of log n base